The Halo Warbond is in a weird spot. As it is the first legendary Warbond and features the category legendary instead of premium, people have had high expectations for the weapons in it. And turns out it's mid. I'd say it's mid. It's not as bad as some make it out to be, but it's definitely not a strong Warbond if performance is what you judge by. But why is that? That's what we will talk about in just a second. But before that, quick disclaimer. This is my opinion, and it's based solely on the weapon's performances, as I've never played Halo. I'd like to hear what you guys think about this Warbond though. I keep learning from you guys in the comments, so be sure to comment your opinion. Maybe it'll even help an Xbox diver or two. And having mentioned Xbox divers, welcome to the second Galactic War. Looking forward to fighting at the front line with you. Well then, let's talk about the contents of the Warbond. It starts off with two armors. First, we have the Helljumper armor, the A9. And secondly, we have the Recon armor. What is the correct pronunciation for this? Like, Google Translate has two different ones, so...
Recon.
Both are considered medium armors. They have an armor rating of 100, speed of 500 and stamina regen of 100. The more interesting part is the armor passive they bring to the table. Feet first. While you have feet first, you make 50% less noise, giving you the ability to, well, be stealthy. It works to some degree, I suppose. And it increases your point of interest identification range by 30%, which is great if you need to farm super credits for example, the next Warbond that's coming out in the 4th. It also provides immunity to leg injuries, which is once again nice to farm super credits if you're using the war pack, for example. But I think it's fair to say this is not something you'd use the ammo for. You'd use it for the drip, because, not gonna lie, at least the Helljumper armor has a 10 out of 10 drip. The Recon armor, we don't talk about that. It looks ass. Look at its blue, it doesn't look great compared to the Helljumper armor, because that one is actually 10 out of 10. The other things, such as the patterns, are boring, besides maybe the player title, the rookie, but looks kind of cool. I like the name, I dislike the logo kind of. Let's get to the interesting part. Let's get to the weapons. And spoiler, there's one that's really good. You can probably guess which. Let's first start off with the MA5C. It is an assault rifle with 80 damage per bullet, a max size of 32 bullets, a fire rate of 640 and a recoil of 19. If you've looked at the stats of the other weapons, you probably already see the problem with this weapon. But before we get to that, this weapon does have something unique to it. Actually, not just one thing, but multiple. The first person view using the MA5C is something they apparently recreated from what this Warbond's based on, Halo 3 ODST. It recreates the in that game used first person, for the first time in Helldivers, not using a scope, but sort of hip-firing the weapon. And look, this might be cool and all, but it sure doesn't make aiming easier. It also features two things that I personally think are very cool. As you've most likely seen, it shows you the current remaining ammo of the magazine on top of your gun, which is something we've not had in Helldivers before. It's nothing crazy, it's nothing really game-changing nor super useful, as you can always see the approximate bullets left in the bottom left, but it's a nice feature. The second other feature is this sort of tracking thing that shows you the nearest enemy. I've got to say, this is not reliable at all. I've had so many instances where it literally pointed somewhere, not even close to an enemy or anything in general. Also, even if it worked as it should, nothing particularly useful, just a cool feature. Now, going back to the hip firing situation. As I said, it makes aiming at distant enemies harder. Well, thank God that won't be a problem with this weapon however. Why, you may ask? Because it feels like the reprimand did before buffs and the customization update. It has an almost abysmal recoil. You'd figure for its bad recoil, it shines in other stats, but no, it literally doesn't. Let's compare it to the other medium pen assault rifles. And please keep the attachments in mind. The MA5C cannot be improved, while the other assault rifles are or can be improved. Let's look at the Liberator Penetrator first, a personal favorite of mine. I fully upgraded mine and it currently has 60 damage per bullet, a capacity of 60 per mag, a recoil of just 8, which is super low, and a fire rate of 640, the same as the MA5C. And fully upgraded, the Liberator Penetrator basically is simply an upgrade. Sure, it deals 20 less damage per bullet, but you get a lot more bullets and it's way easier to hit them. And please also keep in mind that the Liberator Penetrator can still use scopes. The MFFC does not. The other weapon I want to look at is the Educator. Here keep in mind that mine is still level 1 and therefore can still have its recoil lowered, which is important in this case. It deals 95 damage, so 15 more than the MI5C, has a capacity of 30, which is just 2 less than the MFFC. At level 1 has a recoil of 24, which is 5 higher, but can still be lowered with attachments. attachments, and has a fire rate of 550, which actually is less than the Mi-5C's 640. So you basically shoot slower, which also by the way lowers your overall recoil, deal more damage, and have about the same mag size. Once again, you can use scopes on this, not on the Mi-5C. I think this one can almost be considered a direct upgrade to the Mi-5C. I personally prefer the Liberator Penetrator, but overall I think both the Liberator Penetrator and the Educator simply are better than the Mi-5C. It pains me to say this, but they simply feel better to use, despite it being a legendary weapon. The second weapon this Warbond adds is quite interesting. The M7S is a suppressed SMG with light pen dealing 70 damage, having a mag size of 48, a recoil of just 8, and a fire rate of 872. It is suppressed, which is neat, and more importantly, one-handed, allowing you to use the ballistic shield and more in combination with it. The strong suit of this weapon, in my opinion, is the insanely low recoil and great accuracy with such a high fire rate. It can dismantle overseers over quite some distance, hitting nearly every shot. You need to worry about the armor still, but I have another video on the Illuminate. Its damage is decent, I suppose. Max size is good for an SMG, but I think that's about it. Unlike the Mi-5C, it has some sort of scope, but there isn't anything particularly special about this weapon. But unlike the Mi-5C, it actually has a use case. It isn't just the worst version of other weapons in the category, but differs from them a little. Let's compare it to the Defender and Star 11. The Defender is the closest to the M7S, dealing 80 damage, having a capacity of 70 at level 25, a recoil of down to 7 with the right attachments, and a fire rate of 520. Fully leveled, the Defender's mag is way bigger and features the same or less recoil fully upgraded. It also deals 10 more damage, but has a highly lowered fire rate as trade-off, which still distinguishes them to some degree. I think it's fair to say in this case, both have their own strength. The other comparable weapon is the Star 11. It also deals 70 damage, has the same capacity of 48, but a recoil of 11. However, it has an even higher fire rate with 1050, being one of the fastest in the game, only the Knight being in front of it. The Star 11 is in the same situation as the M7S and can also not be upgraded, as it is a weapon from the previous and first collab of Helldivers, Killzone. Compared to the M7S, it has a higher recoil and fire rate, therefore dishing out more DPS but being way less controllable. Basically, being an overclocked version of the M7S. While overall a decent weapon, the M7S doesn't do much more than that. It looks cool though. Let's go to mine and probably your favorite gun of this Warbond, the M90A shotgun. I'm just gonna say it, this is by far the best shotgun we have gotten so far. Why? It's damage. Easily, it's damage. While only having a capacity of 6, rounds reload by the way, so not as bad as it sounds, a fire rate of 80 and recoil of 83, which aren't important in the shotgun's case, it deals a whooping 605 damage. This is by far the highest damage of all shotguns we have in the game. The closest comparison most likely is the Punisher, with 405 damage, a cap of 16 with rounds reload, and the same recoil and fire rate. While the Punisher is upgradable, it won't change its damage, giving the M90A an incredible advantage over it. While you lose out on 10 rounds per full reload, you deal a crazy 50% more damage with the M90A. As I've mentioned, the capacity does not matter, as the rounds reload speed is essentially the same for them. The Punisher can just hold more if fully loaded. While it only got light armor penetration, it shreds everything that is not armored the game will throw at you. My personal favorite enemy to fight with the shotgun is the Stalker. Its insane damage will destroy any Stalker entering your vision in no time. This fact alone makes the weapon great in what I think is currently the most difficult planet modifier in the game, the Predator strain. Unless the game throws multiple groups of Stalkers at you, as it loves to I must admit, you can easily fight them off. Hell, you can even fight off the groups without much issue. This weapon is the best weapon in this Warbond by far. And if you're not looking for the Halo vibes but just performance, this weapon is what you're looking for. This weapon is actually worth its legendary title. The pistol, the only secondary and last weapon in this Warbond. It's shit. I'm sorry, but it's just bad. This has the potential to be the worst secondary in the game. The M6C, or SOCOM pistol, I don't know what its actual name is. Only redeeming quality is that it's suppressed. It deals 100 damage, has a max size of 12, a recoil of 20, and fire rate of 900. Most importantly, it's light pen only. Now, let's compare it to the Verdict. The Verdict deals 125 damage, which is 25 more than the SOCOM, has a cap of 10, which is too lower, sure, a recoil of 31, and fire rate of 450. The last two stats aren't nearly as important on a pistol as on other weapons, so I wouldn't pay much attention to them. them. The more important part here is the Verdict's medium armor penetrating. Choosing the Verdict over the SOCOM gives you 25 more damage and penetrates more armored enemies, with just 2 bullets less per magazine as trade-off. I think it's fair to say the Verdict is just a better weapon. Its first-person view also sucks. Is there anything good about this weapon? Let's look at the Warrant as well. 80 damage, 13 bullets with medium armor pen, while also being guided. 20 less damage but 1 more bullet per magazine, and the ability to lock on. The M6C is just bad, and I don't know what else to say. For conclusion, is the Warbond worth 1,500 super credits? In my opinion, unless you really enjoy Halo, it is not worth 1,500 super credits. If you have other Warbonds open that you still need to purchase, get them over the Halo Warbond. Next to Warbonds like Chemical Agents, this is the last one you should get, unless you really want that shotgun. Or you really like Halo, I guess. But it's just not worth the money. If you have any other opinions, comment down below. I'd love to hear them. But I will probably not use these weapons a lot. Maybe the shotgun, but that's it. And with that, have a great one, guys.